What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. I've got a pretty crazy story for you guys about one of the most spoiled rich people I've ever encountered in real life. I have no doubt that you guys are going to enjoy it. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Be sure to press the like button, otherwise no joke, no scam. You will be kidnapped in the middle of the night by a team of CIA agents who will then train you to become the next Percy Jackson, but not in a fun way. You won't get water powers, dude. You'll just be stuck in the desert going with a bunch of handlers yelling at you to do it faster, but you're not sure what they want you to do. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Ain't no hand up there on you. I know that bitch like me. Yeah, looking fresh, all white Nike.
Alright guys, so this story actually happened at college right before the YouTube thing really took off. At my college, I met some of the weirdest people I ever met, dude, and one of them was this guy named Brian. Now, Brian was the type of guy who had rich parents, and I know that because he was like constantly telling everybody about how loaded his dad was and how basically, like, if he wanted to, he could buy all of us. Like, that's how rich his parents were. And if that sounds annoying, that's because it was, dude. I mean, first of all, someone as sexy as me just isn't for sale, dude, but even for then, he would just be a giant piece of cornbread all the time and be like, dude, my dad's so rich, I'm so cool, I'm so this, and genuinely, I'm gonna be honest with you, if you have loaded parents, literally nobody cares. Like, nobody respects you more for just happening to be born to people that are successful. Like, if your dad is rich, you know, that's totally okay, man, good for you, but you're not your dad, so reminding me constantly just makes you look pretty stupid and like you have nothing else to brag about. Regardless, that's the type of person he was, and I had him in one of my classes, and we had a final project coming up, which was obviously gonna be a large part of our grade. It was like our final exam, but it was not an exam the way a normal one is. The project itself was actually pretty easy. We just had to like write an essay about what we learned and then present it to the class and like answer questions about it from the teacher and our classmates, which I know for some of you sounds terrifying, but like, I don't know, I've always been pretty good at talking, so I wasn't too scared of it. Now, Bryant was also constantly hyping up how he like never had to try to get A's in school, which wasn't true. Like, you know, the dude was pretty smart, but he wasn't as convincing on the whole getting A things as he says he was, you know? Like, whenever we would be answering questions in class, he would always raise his hand all confidently and be like, that's easy, and then get it wrong, but then proceed to tell everybody how he constantly had an A in class, and it was just like, dude, that's weird, because every time you answer a question in class, it's wrong, and he would be like, oh no, it's because I do it on purpose. He was just one of those guys, dude. And regardless, all week before we have to like present this thing, he's procrastinating, which I can't blame him on because I was literally doing the exact same thing. Like, I'm never gonna be the type of person to judge someone for procrastinating, especially if it's schoolwork, because doing that stuff sucks. Like, I don't blame you for wanting to not do work as long as possible. But the really annoying thing about him procrastinating is he was like shaming everybody else who was studying really hard and like calling them morons and whatnot. And listen, dude, if you don't want to do your work, you want to procrastinate, that's fine. I get it. I do the exact same thing constantly. Like, I always procrastinate. But I don't go around like to everyone who's studying hard and, you know, judge them and be like, oh, you're a moron. Because, you know, honestly, we're probably the morons for procrastinating. Like, they've got the right idea. If you don't have to try to pass school, that's cool, dude. But I remember one time during the week where everybody's writing their essays, this one girl was just kind of venting at the little like area we were sitting about how stressed she was and how she's super nervous for the speech part. And like I said, I've always been good at talking, you know, but I know for a metric butt ton of people, it's literally their biggest fear, dude. Like, it's up there with sharks. And I'm afraid of tons of irrational things. Like, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid of the dark, I'm afraid of sharks. Like, I'm a scaredy cat, so I'm never gonna judge anyone for being like, I'm terrified to talk in front of a lot of people, because as someone who is afraid of a bunch of stupid things, I get it. Anyways, he's like, oh, why are you nervous? To which the girl replied by saying that she just kind of had a fear of speaking and she really wanted to get an A on her exam, so she'd been practicing and like doing her speech to herself in the mirror. And this guy, dude, like, you know, instead of, yeah, just being considerate and saying, oh, wow, that's really good for you, I'm sure you're gonna do great, which really should be your response. Like, if somebody's so nervous that they're practicing doing their exam presentation in the mirror, then you gotta hype them up. Like, if anyone tells you that, I don't don't care if he's your worst enemy. It's not the time to be like, haha, you're an idiot. No, it's probably the time to be like, you can do it, because that's just the right thing to do. And even then, this guy and this girl had no beef. Like, Bryant had no reason to do what he ended up doing in this situation. He starts clowning her, dude, saying how stupid she has to be and how only dumb people can't talk in class. And clearly the girl is like, her feelings are hurt because this dude is shaming her, calling her a moron for just like wanting to get an A and taking class seriously. And everybody who's sitting around him is kind of like, dude, what the hell? Like, what is wrong with you? That was so uncalled for. This girl is just opening up about her fear of speaking in public, and for no reason, he's just like, it's probably because you're a moron. Like, only stupid people don't have the ability to talk in front of classes without getting nervous, which just isn't true. But even then, dude, like, what did your mom have to teach you for you to think that's okay, you know? Like, what type of person sees somebody upset talking about how nervous they are for an exam and is like, now would be the appropriate time to remind them that they are stupid and incapable of doing anything right. Surely that is the right thing to do in this situation, dude. Your dad is this rich man. Apparently he's got all this money, but he couldn't buy you a brain smart enough to figure that out. Like, hey, what's the point of being rich if your kid ends up like this, you know? So at that point, basically everybody around him start pressing him about how he's so sure he's gonna get an A and if he's not studying, and like telling him he's a jerk for making fun of this girl for taking care of her grades, which he was. Like, everybody kind of jumped on him as soon as he was trying to make this girl upset. And when people start confronting him about like how he's so confident he's gonna get an A, dude, he just starts ranting about how rich his dad is, which is so obnoxious because it has literally nothing to do with the question people have asked. Like, oh, hey man, and while you're making fun of people that are studying and working hard, how are you so confident that you're gonna get an A? And he's like, yeah, my dad does have a lot of money. Thanks, bro. Not what I asked at all. Don't know how these two things are related. And he basically spends 5 minutes like explaining to everybody about how he grew up wealthy, and basically that just makes him better than us at everything, and there's nothing that we can do about it because you learn better when you're a kid. So because he learned better when he was a kid, he just kind of is like better than us, you know? Which is such an egotistical take, bro. Like, goddamn, dude. I think money makes life easier, but this dude is really out here pulling some North Korean stuff, like Kim Jong-un telling everybody in North Korea that he doesn't have a butthole because he works so hard he doesn't have to poop. Like, what are you talking about? You're better because you grew up rich? Anyways, the class ends at that point, and I'm like 100% sure now that this dude just sucks and that he's just a mega douche. Like, he did not pass the vibe check with literally anybody. I don't think anyone was a giant fan of him for obvious reasons. So after that, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about it. I was procrastinating, dude. I had better stuff to do than worry about this guy in my class who was a jerk, and he wasn't really a jerk to me. Like, yeah, sure, you know, I thought about it for a bit on the way home, but after that, I was just kind of doing my thing. It was actually like peak Fortnite at the time, you know? I had dubs to get. I had to be cranking 90s to keep up with all the 12-year-olds on Adderall. This is like mid 2017 when Fortnite was taking off. I had better stuff to do than worry about that. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm procrastinating too. Mega douche is procrastinating. But finally, the day of reckoning comes. Like, all this time that he spent bragging about how he procrastinates and does no work and never pays an attention, but still is gonna kill the exam. Like, well, now it's time for everybody to do their presentation. And we're all sitting in the class, and like, there's that nervous energy that is in the air before everybody has to do presentations, where like nobody wants to go first, nobody wants to do it, like it's not fun. And because I'm really like comfortable talking, I just decide to go first and fast because something that people don't realize is that the teacher is always gonna give the person who goes first a little bit of like a padded grade. You know what I'm saying? Because teachers are like, oh my gosh, this person volunteered to go first and do the awkward thing, so obviously they're gonna be a little nervous, so I'll give them a couple extra points for just being willing to go first. So really, if you are kind of comfortable talking in a group presentation, just go. And then even then, if you've gone and you're done, right? Then like the rest of the time people are presenting, you can do whatever you want because you don't have to be paying attention for your name to get called. You're good. You're done. So genuinely, some real advice. Sorry to interrupt the story for a second. I would really recommend if you ever have presentations, just going first. So whatever, I go up. I didn't study. I didn't do anything. So somehow I managed to pull off like a mid B, which I'm gonna take, dude. Some people are like, see, you probably could have studied and got an A, which is true, but instead I played Fortnite and got a B, which, you know, I'm just saying, sometimes it works out. It didn't work out every time. There's a lot of times where I did end up, you know, failing and just screwing myself over because I was procrastinating procrastinating, but this particular time, it did work out. Anyways, I go to sit down and there's another presentation, and I'm just kind of looking around the class while this person's presenting, and I realize that Mr. Cocky looks really nervous. Like, you know when somebody's color in their face is just gone and they just look like they just saw a ghost? That's what he looks like, dude, and I think he's sitting there realizing he hasn't been paying attention at all, which is gonna make BSing a lot harder. Like, if you're not gonna study and whatnot, you at least have to pay a little bit of attention in class, because at this point, I genuinely don't even know if this dude knows the subject of the class. Like, he was just never paying attention at all, but he also didn't study, so he doesn't know anything, and like, as people are presenting, he's realizing, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm gonna get up there and do. So he gets up, and as I said, he looks like he saw a ghost. He's been chilling in the office or something, and he starts his presentation, and it literally makes no sense. It's like he had listened to all the buzzwords from the other presentations and then was just hoping to string them together in like a way that kind of makes sense, but at the same time also doing the thing you do when you're like trying to hit the word count on an essay, and you're just kind of throwing words together and hoping for the best, making the sentences as long as possible. But the only problem is, like, he's up there saying all these big words, all these buzzwords to sound smart, but he's not confident in what he's saying, so nobody's buying it, dude. Like, confidence is really all you need. If you believe what you're saying, not a lot of people are gonna question it, and if he would have gotten up there and strung together some sentences and thrown in buzzwords at the right points and like been confident, he genuinely probably would have been fine, but like the fact that he's sitting up there flopping around like a fish sweating buckets, nobody's gonna believe it, because I don't believe it either. So finally, our teacher just stops him because he's embarrassing himself in front of everybody at this point, and it was like an act of mercy. Alright guys, on screen right now is a Nintendo gift card. Whoever gets it, gets it. I actually give one of these away every single day as a way to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed, so if you're not subscribed already, you might as well hit that button, turn on notifications. I guess like 80% of my audience isn't subscribed, so if you wouldn't mind pressing that button, turning on noties, I would very, very much appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much to everybody who is subscribed. It does mean the world, and without further ado, let's get back to the video. So she just stops him and says that it's obvious that he has no idea what he's talking about, and he better just sit down at this point, dude. But instead of like going and sitting down and just taking the L and keeping his mouth shut, he just decides to start going at it with the teacher, and he's like, well, this class is stupid anyways. That's his rebuttal to like being told to just sit down. And the teacher at this point is having none of it, and she fires back. She's like, well, if this class is so stupid, then why can't you pass it? So he's starting to get flustered now because, you know, he just got roasted in front of everybody, dude. So he goes to his default defense mode, which is just talking about how rich his dad is. So he starts yelling about, I don't need any of this, I'm rich, who do you think you are to talk to me like that? And that's just the corniest thing you could have possibly said, dude. Like, I don't care what your net worth is, that's the worst comeback ever. Oh yeah, I might be stupid, but my dad's rich. Like, I don't care. If you're worth a couple $1 billion, but you're still cringe, it is what it is. Like, you're not gonna uncringify yourself with your dollar bills, dude. You can't change cringe. Anyways, our teacher just says what everyone is thinking, which is like, nobody cares about how rich your dad is, now please sit down. But even after that, dude, his ego just wouldn't let him take the L, so he like does this thing to try to get the last word in and look really cool in front of everybody. So he walks over and he grabs his backpack and he like throws it on his shoulder. He starts walking to the door all sassy like an angry soccer mom on Dance Moms, and he turns around and looks at the teacher and he's like, oh, and just so you know, I wipe my butt with $100 bills, okay? And then just like stands there looking at the teacher. And the teacher is just kind of standing there because what do you even say to that? Like, nice bathroom habits, bro? Like, what do you possibly say to somebody saying like, oh, I wipe my butt with $100 bills? Good for you. So she finally just looks at him like after this awkward silence and says, that kind of seems like a waste of money to me, but good for you, I guess. And like that response obviously gets everybody to laugh at that point because it's just such a weird flex to try to look cool. Like, oh, I literally have so much money that I use $100 bills to wipe my butt. That doesn't make you look cool. It just makes you look out of touch and kind of douchey, bro. How is anyone supposed to think you're tough or intimidating with like the visual of you wiping your butt in your head? That's literally the most vulnerable thing ever. Like, as you're leaving trying to look cool, oh, hey guys, imagine me wiping my butt with $100 bills. All those homeless people out there, I could give them $100, but why would I do that when I can use it to get poop off me? Like, It's just not a very good flex, dude. It doesn't make you look good, so everyone's just kind of laughing at him at this point. And he storms out of the room and he slams the door because he's got to just be embarrassed by taking a massive L and looking bad to everyone. Like, he was somebody that really, really cared about his image, and he just self-owned himself. Like, it wasn't even like our teacher really had to be super creative and insult him. She just had to reply like a human being, and it made him look bad. What's even funnier, dude, is that obviously he had failed his exam. Like, the teacher had to give him an F at that point. That's just what happens when you get into a screaming match with your teacher mid-test. It's probably just not the best idea and is going to end up with you getting a bad grade, but he just never came back after that. Like, I think he was just so embarrassed by the way the teacher made him look that he just decided that never coming back was the better option. And honestly, I can't say that I blame him, dude. Like, how are you going to show your face after trying to make yourself look cool by saying you wipe with hundreds? Your rich dad can't buy your way out of this one, bro. It just made you look like a clown. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. Subscribe, turn on notifications. It's free. And yeah, other than that, if you guys like content, you want more to watch it, you can always check out my TikTok at Scrubby Stories. I also have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. I'll put a link in the description. If you've ever had an experience with a douchey kid like this, be sure to let me know down in the comments. I love reading like the little story times you guys drop down there. It's a pretty good part of the day. Other than that, you can also use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout for 10% off. It's a pretty fantastic deal. And oh my goodness, look at this merch. Do you guys see this thing? Are you seeing this? Wow, if you put that on a shirt and bought it, it would definitely make you the coolest kid in school. The haha merch link will also be down below, so if you're in the neighborhood for a new sweatshirt or anything, go for it. I tried to make the prices as low as I could, you know? So hopefully it's cheaper than most people's merch. That was kind of my goal. But yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. Thank you all so much, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.